Hey, it's Amethyst Virgo. I want to give a little brief disclaimer of why I'm all of a sudden doing tarot readings on this channel. So first of all, my journey in YouTube actually started with pick a card readings. I've been a tarot reader since I was 15, so that's where I started. But at the time, it's what was big in YouTube, and I knew that I had the skills. I knew that I had been accurate for many people doing tarot readings over the years, and that's what I jumped into. However, at the time, I felt it was oversaturated. At the time, a lot of it was about romance and relationships, and I wanted to go in a different direction. And so I found my voice and my audience with talking more about astrology on my channel and doing more teaching about astrology. So that's really where I am most of the time in terms of this type of work. But I've never stopped doing tarot. I think it is helpful to get insights. I think it's totally possible to connect to spirit and to connect to what people need to hear. I think there are a lot of synchronicities that, we come upon a video or we go back to someone's video and realize the message was for us. So that is why I do want to give a little bit of credence to pick a card readings. I think if people are doing them authentically and they are literally really trying to help send a message to people, I think they can work. Again, this is not an individualized reading. So understand, as much as I can be nuanced, as much as I can give examples, I will. But at the end of the day, this is a general reading meant to connect to the needs and experiences of multiple people. Please note, these types of readings do not substitute any serious health, legal, medical situations that you may be engaged in, that you will need a professional to guide you in that aspect. This is for entertainment purposes. This is for people who understand that no matter what type of spiritual advice you get, you have got to do the work yourself. So, and take responsibility for your own actions. So you'll see that there are 4 cards. Which keyword, which image is drawing you in? Don't think about it. Just the first one that stands out to you, that is the one you're going to pick. And the timestamps, click the timestamp, or you can listen to all 4 of them. But this is the one that's going to give you hopefully some guidance in terms of your purpose. Are you living your purpose? Are you on the right track? Are you off track? All right, so the first one we're going to jump into is trust. So if you pick trust, if that was a keyword that stood out to you, we're going to get started. All right, so we're thinking of what is your life's purpose right now? For many of you, this is around you trusting, I wouldn't say just others around you, but yourself. And sometimes you might be getting cues from things around you to further help you understand where you really need to be and where your energy really needs to lie. If you want to read that, you can. It says, I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly. So when we're thinking of purpose, a lot of times we are stuck in the purpose of what other people have done for us or given us as the blueprint for what is going to make us successful. It is essential for us to start to understand the different ways in which we may need to navigate. How do we actually need to understand our own energy so that we're in alignment with ourselves? If you're asking a question about purpose, you may suspect that you're not on the path that you may want to. So let's pull out some scenarios. What is happening right now? Let's get some guidance cards and we're going to move on to the situation. We're going to get some advice for you. Four of Swords. This is the sentiment of feeling like you are secluding yourself or you're in the presence of something or some situation or someone where you kind of want to step away. There's this feeling of wanting to step away. There's this feeling of mentally disconnecting yourself from something. Like it could be a job, it could be a person, the situation that you're like, you know what? I don't really know if this is really where I want to be at this point in time. I need to mentally recollect my thoughts. The 5 of Swords came out, okay? For many of you, you feel defeated. You already feel defeated. You feel like a lot of the things that you're watching unfold right now are proving to you that you're not on the right path of where you need to be. And this is the second sword that you're getting, which deals with the mind, right? So your mental state is one in which you might feel fatigued. You're tired of something. Something keeps happening or something keeps coming up that makes you feel like you're constantly in some type of mental battle. 3 of Wands. Okay. When we see the 3 of Wands card, we are dealing with opportunity, right? We're dealing with opportunity. We're dealing with wanting to move in a direction in which we know we are no longer in a space where we have to feel confined in any shape or form. Three of Wands, if you look at here, like this figure is moving. They're moving in a new direction. There's new energy, rejuvenated. You need to be in settings where you feel rejuvenated. You need to be in situations where you feel rejuvenated. You need to be in situations where there's opportunity. So right now, you need to go where the action is. If you're stuck in your mind about something, if you have to keep rethinking it, if you have to keep trying to figure it out and you're stuck, you're not there. So an opportunity can be on the way, or there's a mode in which you need to create opportunity for yourself. Now let's find out, is there any blockage to this? What is blocking you from feeling fully aligned with your purpose? And I can grab one of these Ask Your Guide cards. What is blocking you? Let's grab some. What is blocking you right now from fully feeling aligned with your purpose? Ooh, this card wants to come out. What card is this? Discontent. You're unhappy. You're unhappy, but you don't know what to do. And a lot of times we know that we're unhappy in a situation, but we remain stuck. We remain in a situation because it's familiar to us, okay? Now that's the card that jumped out. I'm going to pull one more. What is blocking you from feeling like you are aligned with your life's purpose right now? Boredom. You're bored, though. You're bored. You know, it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what other people are saying. Like, you know, you could feel like, in all intents and purposes, you could feel like you seem successful. Other people are telling you, you made the right decision. You're going in the right way, but you don't feel it. Like this, all of this, the mental blockage. There's another opportunity for some people. Like I said, it's that Three Wands of cards. Let me get a little more insight of like, what direction, what are some things you can do moving forward? Yep, look at this. You're bored, you're discontent, you have discontentment, you are starting to feel resentful of something. It's time for a change. It is time for a change. Whatever it is, it's time for a change. Something has to give. You know, you're going to be in the same spiral if you don't change it. Prince of Cups. All right. I don't know if it's somebody that is providing you an opportunity, someone who's come around, who is kind of like reigniting you, someone who is around, who maybe is planning, and I'm not in a bad way, planting ideas in your mind, or someone who's really like, go ahead, you can do this. Someone that's supportive is coming around. Or someone that's supportive, someone who kind of has the answer, someone like, if you feel like other people in your life, if you were to change directions, if you were to go towards something that you know is right for you and other people would not support you, you likely do have somebody around you that would support. You also have the Sun card, right? Radiance. The light needs to be shed on things. Yes, you need to make a change. And again, when I say it's always up to the individual what they decide to do. I do not control people. I do not take responsibility for any decisions people choose to make, right? But the Sun card is radiance. It means the light needs to be shined on the situation. You need to see it for really what it really is. You already have seen what is possible. And you need to go in that direction in order to really feel happiness, because right now you feel stuck. Now, what's the last message from your guides? What is the message for the guides from your guides? So I'm using Ask Your Guides Oracle cards. What is the message? What do they want you to remember as you seek more clarity and make more decisions in alignment with your purpose? Yeah, we have a lot of negative thoughts. We gotta get rid of that. And a lot of it's gonna be through action. Like you saw, Three of Wands, action, opportunity. Now, 3 is still a lower number, right? So 3 means opportunity. It means something that is not fully fleshed out yet, but it can be, it's an opportunity presented to you. It's an idea that you have, but you feel bored and you feel stuck right now. So it's kind of like, well, what other option do you have but to stay misaligned with your purpose? Creativity, look at this. Look at this. Look at the messages. Look at the messages, right? For those who chose this one, look at the message. You got to be creative. You're stuck in a rut. You feel discontentment. You feel bored. You feel uninspired. It's really about right now, like thinking to yourself, what is it that you have the opportunity to focus on? What new inspirations are coming your way in terms of things that you might have passed on certain opportunities right before. You might have said to people, no, I don't have time to do that. No, I don't want to do that. You have a passion project you want to do. Like, this is a great time to utilize this energy. Even if it's a small thing, I want us to understand you are not going to meet your life's purpose in one day, one night. You're not going to do it in maybe a year, right? You're not in a year, right? But it is important for you to start to take small steps. And then that's really going to help you. It's going to help increase your happiness. The love card. You can read it if you want. I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. Okay. So we think of love. A lot of people think instantly relationships, but also the love card could have something to do as well with just simply being appreciative for the things around you that you have. Like appreciate, looking at life in a way of possibilities, like loving and appreciating, having gratitude, all those different things can also be a part of this. So let's get some cards. What's currently going on around you that you don't feel in line with your purpose? Again, this is a spirit guide reading. This means your spirit guided you, your higher self guided you to get some advice. All right, it's up to you what you decide to do. Let's get some cards. Seven of Cups card, illusion. All right, let me move this over. Sorry. My card spilled out. Now, when a card jumps out, I always read it, but a bunch dropped up, and I just couldn't. I couldn't figure out which cards it would be look at. But this one came out by itself. The Seven of Cups, illusion. It deals with when you're in a situation where you're not really sure what's real and what's not. And right now, you might have thought you were on the right path, the right way, but now you're just starting to feel a little bit more emotionally dedicated to figuring things out. You want to feel better about the decisions that you're making, right? Let's get some clarity here about the situation. What is your purpose? Are you living in your purpose right now? Do you feel in line with your purpose? Get that 3 or 4 cards. This card came up in the other reading. You saw I just shuffled this. If you're watching both readings, you saw I just shuffled this. The Four of Swords keeps coming up for a lot of people. I did a reading a couple of days ago, and this card came up for someone as well, an individual reading. But the Four of Swords, like you are reevaluating things mentally. You are even blocking yourself off from something, or you feel blocked off from something. You feel restricted, but it's a self-imposed restriction when you see the Four of Swords. Like someone is deciding to, like, you know what, let me reevaluate this mentally and think to myself, like, am I going in the right direction, right? And then we look at the fact that the Five of Swords card comes up again. Now, you all saw me shuffle this deck, and you might have heard the deck fell on the floor, so I had to gather everything back up. But there is the Five of Swords card coming back up. This message is double for people. There's a lot of energy going on right now. People that feel defeated. You feel that you are not fully in line with your full purpose, and you feel just like agitated. Like if you look at the image itself, a bunch of swords, like stabbing the image in the eye. It's like it's a painful kind of feeling to feel like things aren't moving in the direction that you want. So let's get some more clarification. Again, when I tell you, I try to be genuine in my reading. So for example, yes, these 2 cards came up in the first reading. So maybe this message is definitely, like, a lot of people are going through the same thing right now. There's a lot of mental strain for some people. There's a lot of decision making. There's a lot of feelings of overthinking, rethinking things. Like, you know, I have to read it as it is. Even if the same cards come up for a reading, I'm reading it as it is because that message is for someone. Maybe one of you, somebody's out there watching and you watch them both. Maybe it is. Let's see what's going on. The Moon. You already know internally whether you are on the right direction or not. You're waiting for cues, you're waiting for someone to tell you, you're waiting for some big monumental thing, but sometimes there's not going to be a big monumental event that helps you understand whether you're on the right path or not. I would say for you, if you're getting these cards, there's a lot of things going on that are, the things aren't what they seem. Seven of Cups, the Four of Swords and Five of Swords coming up together definitely can represent some type of seclusion because you've been hurt. You know, Five of Swords, defeat. You've been defeated. You feel hurt. You feel like every time you try something, it doesn't quite work out. I think for this set of cards, the first set of cards I could see be people who feel like on the outside look successful, but they feel bored, right? On the outside look successful, but they feel like they need something more in order to enjoy life. This one, I feel like you've been doing a lot, right? You've invested a lot in what you love and what you like, but you're starting to think it's not what you want anymore. So an example could be a person who is like going to a certain field. You thought you wanted to go into medicine because your family's all doctors, but now you're starting to feel like, I don't know if this is me. I don't know if this is what I really want. Or maybe you want to go into a different avenue with that. Right? That's just an example that I'm giving, but the moon card is like you already know and sense. When you think of our heightened intuition, you already sense things, but you might be relying too much on outside validation. So let's see what else we got here. You're not really necessarily listening fully to yourself. The moon card does represent a journey through the dark, right? This is a pivotal time, but also when I see the moon card, I say it's necessary. It is necessary sometimes to go through the dark. Because a lot of times we're not going to shine the light on something until we actually stumble around a little bit, and then we realize we have to look a little bit deeper. So let's see what else we got. And then I'm going to do some cards to figure out are there any barriers? Nine of Discs, abundance. You want more. Yep. For you, I don't think it's the same as the other deck. This is about the other first reading that I did with the I did the first reading with the card that was trust. So for the Nine of Discs, we're dealing with abundance, growing things. It's like you know that if you move to the direction that you want, you're going to grow. You feel a little bit frustrated right now that things aren't panning out the way that you want it to. Right. And I think that is literally where you feel like, well, am I really moving towards the right purpose? You've had a letdown, but I don't think this necessarily means you have to give up. I think that, it's just been difficult. There has been a part of there's things that happen that you didn't intend. That's whatever path you're on, there are things that happen that you didn't count on happening. And so this is causing you to rethink a lot of things. Let's see what else. What is blocking you potentially? Let's ask the guides. What is blocking? We're going to do one or two cards. Balance. So what's blocking you is balance. There's likely been one area of your life where you're leaning heavily into it, but you're not making sure that you're fully aligned with the other things that are important. You've been putting too much effort into something. And that is probably why you have this sense of disappointment. It's important that you find ways to still just don't be single-minded. If you're going towards something, that doesn't mean it's wrong. Just because you've been frustrated because of how things have happened, that doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. But it does mean you're going to feel frustrated. You're going to feel misaligned when you don't make sure you have other things in your life that you enjoy. For example, people that are frustrated because they feel like they're not living the lifestyle they want. Okay, it doesn't mean you have to change what you're doing now. Maybe what you're doing now is important, but you maybe have to understand ways in which you're giving yourself more freedom to do things that aren't normally a part of your routine. For some people, if you feel like it's work, but you got to work right now, you can't afford to quit. But how do you find other things in your life that you enjoy? If you are someone who used to be playing a band, how do you bring that joy back in your life? If you're someone who used to go out more, how do you go to a festival? How do you take advantage of like spring and summertime coming up, right? So it's about balance. I think for people who feel misaligned with their purpose, I don't think it's necessarily that you're not with your purpose. I think you've been disappointed. And I think you're disappointed because things aren't growing the way you want. But the Nine of Discs, the Nine of Pentacles, it's about time. And you have to allow time to really be the indicator. But also the Moon card shows up. So for those of you who are listening to this, What is your intuition telling you? What does your inner self tell you? Because you're waiting for all these cues and you're waiting for people to tell you, right? But let's get another one. Judgment. You fear judgment. That's what's blocking you. You fear judgment. You fear, I think it's that, but is it really that you're concerned about your purpose, or do you feel like other people don't understand where you are right now? Other people think you should have made it quicker. Other people think you should be doing something bigger. Other people are rushing you through the process. So if you enjoy what you're doing, but it's other people giving you kind of that headache, it is important for you to listen to that moon part of yourself, your inner self. Judgment also can be, you might fear if you do the things you really want, right? And I'm not talking about things that are harmful, but if these are things you really want, there's a part of your life where you're like, you know what, if I did this, I would be happier. If I moved here, I'd be happier. If I did this, some people could be, you might be living at home with your family. And if you moved out on your own, and by family, you know, like maybe you're still living with your parents and your siblings and you're like an adult, you might need to move out, right? I'm just giving an example there. So these are things of blockage, but let's look and see like what direction should you head? What do the guides say? What direction would be beneficial for you to head into? What is the last message for spirit guides right now? What do you want to keep in mind? Bravado. You got to be brave. Look at this. It says warrior guides. You got to be brave. You got to branch out and do the things that you really want. It doesn't mean shake your life up. I am not suggesting you go shake your life up. I'm not suggesting you go quit what you're doing. I'm not saying that you go break up with somebody. I'm not, because, you know, they live here, but you want to live here. I'm not telling people what to do in terms of being very impulsive with things. But this bravado card is the importance of like, you have to do the things that you're scared of doing. Whatever that is, you got to just go and do it. Now, again, be smart, be rational, weigh the pros and cons, all of those great things. But this card is really showing the importance of like the thing that bridge you're afraid to cross, you got to make sure you cross it. All right, so if you picked the surrender card, this means surrender card stood out to you when you saw these cards. It says, I can release my need to control. That is very hard, right? We want life to go a certain way. And sometimes it is hard to surrender, especially when we think of spiritually, right? When we think of understanding and being aligned with our higher self. Our higher self always has the answers. But our higher self, we are here on earth, right? So our higher self can't always give us the easy way out. We're here to learn, right? And so a lot of times what happens is we are afraid to pay attention to the cues and the things that are happening around us as symptoms or signs, not symptoms, that we need to surrender. That sometimes things are beyond our control for a reason. But also, we don't gotta control everything. Control what you can control, and everything else, right? Learn to embrace the fact that you can't control some things, but how do you go really hard for the things that you can, right? All right, so we're getting cards pulled for the situation that some of you may be around. Again, if you are listening to this reading, it is because you need to hear it, all right? Not everybody needs to hear this message right now. You might need to hear another message next week, right? But for those of you who have come to this, or you have come back and you have chosen this deck, I mean, not this deck, I'm sorry, this card, these keywords, let's get into it. Oh, you're holding on to something. Look at this. The surrender card comes up and you get the Four of Pentacles. You're holding on to something, okay? You're holding on to something because it protects you. You're holding on to something because it gives you a sense of security. The question to ask yourself, is it false security? The Princess of Wands card. There's a lot of activity going on, though. You're trying to figure it out. You're trying to figure some things out. You might be involved in a lot of different things, or you're promising that you're going to do a lot of different things, or you feel caught up in a lot of different activities. Five of Wands. Conflict, though. You're in conflict with something. You have competing priorities. You got to give something up. All right. And sometimes sacrifice is what helps set us on the right path. So, for example, it's the person who's doing 500 things. But if you had just did 3, right, and I'm exaggerating, you'd be better. It is wanting so much to be successful, But if we actually just narrowed down what our role is, we would be even more successful, right? It is trying to do everything for everyone, but ending up in issues. People are involving you in situations that don't really require you, right? You're getting caught up in other people's drama and you can't even focus on yourself. You gotta let something go. That's the message for you guys. So let's get ask your guides. What are the barriers though? What is the blockage? Yep, that's what I'm getting. This deck for people who are concerned about, are they living their life's purpose? Something's blocking you. You're involved in too much. You're involved in too much because you're trying to figure it out, but you're also holding on to something that you may not need to hold on to. So let's get some clarity here on what might be blocking you. We typically pick 2 cards for this. Shadow. You're afraid to really look into what it is that you fully are afraid of. You're afraid of looking at something. Your shadow side. So some of the keywords for the shadow card are anger, vengeance, violation, spite. Right? Now your divine helpers are here. Okay, it's helping you release that shadow side, right? The shadow side of you is the side of you that you are afraid to confront the truth. You're afraid to confront something that actually could be freeing. Remember, anytime we see our shadow, think in life, right? When you see your shadow, you don't see your face. You don't see what your clothes look like. You just see the figure. You see the silhouette, right? That is your shadow. You don't really see yourself. And so because of that, this can mean like for some of you who are concerned about your purpose that chose this card originally, there's something you're afraid to see. And if you saw that part of yourself, you'd maybe be able to heal it and work through it. And the other card that comes up is what's blocking you is epiphany. You've probably already been getting signs around you. Situations have happened that are kind of trying to lead you in the right direction, but you may be ignoring those. So it's important for you to really understand the way in which you want to move about life, where you are no longer allowing yourself to be driven by the things that are consuming you, but are not freeing you. You are too consumed by something, and it's starting to weigh on you. That 5 of Wands and that shadow card, it's starting to weigh on you, right? So I would say for this set of cards, some of you are not aligned with your purpose right now. Some of you are getting off track because you're too distracted. Now let's see what the final word is from the Ask Your Guides. What is it? What should you keep in mind? Now I'm trying to design these readings to be quick. I want to hear the message. I want to sense the message and give it to you. But I don't feel like I need to do like an hour-long thing explaining. I want to just have people hear the message and then be able to like think and reflect. Regret. Okay. You can't change the past. You're afraid. Okay. And I get it. You're afraid. The advice card here is you can't live with regrets. You might be doing something because you feel like you owe somebody, right? You're so involved with what other people need you to do. You're ignoring who you really need to be. You are giving too much of yourself. It gives you a sense of protection, or you're protecting someone. So you're involved in a lot. So somebody, even like this is like indicative of people who are doing so much for others, they have no time for themselves. And I'm not saying it's wrong to do for others. There are people we care about in our lives. There are people that we are responsible for, all of that great stuff. But the advice card here is regret. You don't want to, have regrets. You don't want to look back 6 months from now and say, wow, I could have done something for myself. I could have, worked on what my goal really is in life. I could have worked on my spiritual self. I could have worked on my financial self. I could have worked on the job I want. I could have worked on bettering myself, right? So this card reminds you, yes, there could be regrets and things you feel guilty about, but it's important for you to not feel so guilty that you are denying yourself what you really need in order to grow. Okay. So the last set is the success card. So if you looked at the cards, you saw this image, and this is the immediate one that stood out to you, the success card. It is saying, I know that there is no greater goal than that to love. Okay. Now, what I always say, especially when I do readings for people, is that success looks differently for different people. Okay. And that's just what it is. Everyone does not view success the same way. Everyone does not have the same opinion of success. So please be mindful of that. Okay. Everyone is not going to be a millionaire, but that doesn't mean you're not successful, right? You could be more successful than you were 10 years ago. You could be successful in terms of you're successful in terms of family. You're successful. You have broken generational trauma because you aren't following some of the same mistakes your family did, right? You are successful in terms of you had a goal in life and you did it, right? So I want us to understand, like, we want to define success. It's just very personal, even though we have a shared definition in terms of what. So let's do this. All right. So let's get some cards to help us understand your situation, or the situation that people who got this card may be able to relate to. All right, Queen of Wands. Okay. You've accomplished something recently. Whether, now again, the queen can sometimes represent a woman, or a woman is important, some feminine energy here. Whether it's you, and you have accomplished something. You might not be fully where you want to be yet, but you started getting things moving. You're starting to see the results, but you also feel really energized to do the next step, or can mean that there's some feminine energy around you that's really supporting and helping in this regard. The Princess of Swords, communication. So this is also some level of, like, you're getting communication from people, or maybe what you're working on or what you're doing. Your purpose, your feeling of purposefulness in terms of the world around you, in terms of your community, in terms of your immediate environment. There's a lot of communication. You are responsible for communicating with people, or you're responsible for getting ideas across in some way. Let's get some more clarification on that with the other Three of Swords. Okay. You didn't always feel successful though. Three of Swords. Sorrow, sadness. It's taken a while to get to a certain point. And you might not still be fully healed, right? Three of Swords can deal with a little bit of, when you see that card, it can deal with depression. It can deal with kind of like, mentally feeling exhausted. Let's get sorrow, sadness. Let's get, could have means you had to break off communication with someone or something. Let me get some more clarification on that. The Princess of Swords, she's communicating. The Three of Swords can be sadness, sorrow, right? But you also have the Queen of Wands, which represents a lot of activity happening. Could mean you're happy with how things are going, but mentally you might still be dealing with some worries. Let's get some clarification. We get two cards to clarify. This Three of Swords. Okay, oh no, it's falling. We get two cards to clarify what's going on. Prince of Cups. Okay. Someone or something has came to relieve you. You feel driven in one direction. You're trying to it's almost like some people, I don't know if some people have left something that was weighing you down, whether it was a job, relationship, an obligation. And now you're seeing more success, or you're going to see more success. The Prince of Cups, he's coming along, and symbolically, he's charming, he's alluring, he's offering gifts, he's offering something. You see, he's coming with that cup, right? All the princes are on horses in tarot. So he's on the way. Somebody's on the way to help. Someone is a resource. Someone is supporting you in what you have decided to do. And I think this is you, again, symbolically, not saying Queen of Wands. If you're a man watching this, I'm not saying you're the queen, but I'm saying queen energy, right? And the prince is someone, right? Someone around. There's an opportunity that's charming, it's alluring to you, and you took it. You might have taken something kind of in a brash way because you were so frustrated by a situation. So that's why I said with this Three of Swords and Princess of Swords coming up, I wonder if some of you have to end something. You have to say, you know what, you've been doing too much, right? You were trying to help out your family business and you're like, but that's not what I want to do. I want to go hit the road and I want to go travel. And I'm, I got this opportunity. I just met this person and we have the same goal. We're going to go, travel the world together in a van, whatever, right? I'm just giving an example. And the Empress card, creativity, yes. Some of you are leaving, but you left behind something. Something has to be left behind, but you still have to communicate it. I wonder if that's what's going on with some people. Like whatever it is you're done with, you have to, that's the hard part. I think this is what's coming up. You're on your way to your purpose. You're diving into your purpose, but something that makes you feel fuller. It makes you feel more, it makes you feel more aligned, but you have to communicate that with someone. That could be the hard part. So let me get two cards. Let's ask the guides, ask your guides. It's 2 cards to help us understand the barrier or the blockage. Grace. You've been given, some of you feel like you've been given a second chance. You've been given grace. You've been given grace. You might have been stuck for a little bit in a situation where you didn't feel successful. You felt like things weren't going to look right for you for a while, but you've been given grace. But what blocks you is sometimes you're not giving yourself grace. So that's why I said for some people that's getting this, what I'm sensing is there's a collective message for some people around, yes, you kind of have to let something go and you have to be okay with that and communicate that because you feel it's unfair. You feel bad about going towards something that's better for you. So some of you might feel that. And then here we have unconditional love. This is interesting. I wonder and again, when I do these are not individualized readings. Obviously, if you want an individual reading, you have to go to my website and inquire. But I wonder for some people, you're indebted to somebody or you feel responsible for somebody or you've been helping somebody out. And maybe it's someone you have a connection to, family member, something like that, a friend, right? Because what's blocking you says unconditional love. Like you're afraid. You're afraid if you say no, or you're afraid if you cut communication with someone or something, you cut ties, that your luck is going to run out, or you feel bad, or you feel like this is, you're going to be, you feel like you're going to disappoint them. But when we look here, when we see the Empress card, right, and the Prince of Cups, it's like you have another opportunity coming up that's creative. It's an opportunity that's going to help you blossom and grow. So it is important for you not to limit your own growth. Let's get an advice card from the guides. Ask your guides, Oracle deck. What is the advice for people who resonate with this set? Wow, look at this creativity. So now this came up for the first set, I believe. But look at this. Why do I think that's so important? The Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands can represent creativity as well, but she's moving. She's on the go. The Empress card in tarot relates. One of the key words for the Empress is creativity. She's growing. She's fruitful. Look at all the things she has. Look at what's blossoming around her. Right? Look at what she has. Look at what's in her hand. She's not letting anything limit her. She feels inspired by the world around her to create and to grow and to thrive. She's not limited. And then you have the creativity card coming up. So this is a great time to get your creative juices flowing. You feel less inhibited right now. So whatever it is that you're tied to right now that you have to sever with, or you have to communicate, and it might just be communicating your needs. It's not meaning I'm saying everyone has to sever ties with someone or something in order to feel that their life is purposeful, but it doesn't mean like that's on your mind. You feel guilty. You feel like if I go in this direction, I'm going to hurt these people or I'm not going to be dependent on them. But don't you want to depend on you? Don't you want to be able to depend on yourself? So, for you, it is important to really understand those factors and make sure that you are really aligning yourself, because this is a great moment for you to really feel in awe of the things that you're capable of doing.